very good topic. Gaza and Israel and the fake mortar attacks and all that rubbish and the bombing, etc. You know the stuff if you've seen my videos. But all of a sudden one day he attacked me and I couldn't believe it for a video I did, and I can't even tell you what it was now, but it was really seemed out of character for him. He said he was going to put me into the police even. I thought, what a weird guy, supposed to be against all global governance, etc., and he wants to put people in the police, and for what, I don't know. But he's the one that's running with this Greenland bit. Now, I'm thinking there could be something in that one, because I said, why can't you ring him? So annoying me. I tried about 5 times, and it just said the same thing every time. But he's also got one about Vanuatu being a hoax. Now, I happened to be in a shopping centre yesterday morning, and I walked into the tourist guide and I said, how about trips to Vanuatu? And she showed me different brochures and pictures and stuff, so pretty odd, you know. And I know my cousin went there 20 odd years ago, and being a surfer, I've met a few other surfers who have been there. So I'm finding it hard to believe that Vanuatu doesn't exist. That is for certain. And so I think we might just try here to ring something in Vanuatu. Again, has anybody got any ideas and clues on this? There's somewhere I've been trying to save up to go all this year, but I've achieved not very little savings. And I had to pay my insurance yesterday, and with the car and house it was $1,500. So it just smashed me, you know. Everything's just so much nowadays. You just think you're getting there, then other bills are coming in, like the rate bills, and it's endless. That's for sure. So Republic of Vanuatu, and my girlfriend's saving every cent she has too. We thought we could try and get ourselves a week or week and a half in either Samoa or Vanuatu. It's not that expensive, of course, to fly from Australia to these places, and you can get reasonably cheap Bure-style accommodation. So anyway, according to this, Vanuatu exists. See if I can ring somebody up in Vanuatu. Oh, well, it looks like my telephone just doesn't ring international. I may have put a cover on that. So in the past I've had backpackers here and that. I can't remember. I mean, I can ring mobiles and across Australia. So I'll have to get somebody else to do it for me until I look into this phone. I'm sure somebody can just have a quick call to Greenland for me and a quick call to Vanuatu. I'm pretty certain this Vanuatu exists. So that moves me on to another thing that Aaron Dover's been doing, which I think there's something in, but I'm not sure what. And that is oil wells and oil rigs and oil out of the ground. Let's just look at that quickly. Yes, the oil rigs seem a bit strange to me, I must admit. Now, he's got a video that he shows this gigantic oil rig being constructed, and I must admit that one looks very fraudulent indeed. And is it they just make that about that giant one just for a propaganda tool, not necessarily that oil rigs don't exist? I'm not sure. I'd like my audience to look at this if they could. But one thing occurs to me about these is they're pumping the oil out here. Where do they put the oil before the ship comes to get it? Some of them run a pipeline to the mainland, as it were. See mainland close enough maybe here, but some are a long way out. You know, we've never really looked at these things before. We just took them for granted. There used to be quite a few ads on Australian TV about oil rigs that we have here in this country, and they'd show seals swimming around the bottom and be all about how good it is for the environment ideas. So that's about the only thing we ever took notice with them. But with everything else that's going on, it certainly is time to reassess all these things. These guys look awfully clean, don't they? They do look awfully clean. This is oil rig jobs with no experience. Here's some guidelines. So has anybody got experience of oil rigs? Now, I was in the surf the other day really early there, and there was a guy who was a fly-in, fly-out worker, and he works in the gas industry. And I've been out to where this is, in the Roma area of Queensland, and it's called the Surat gas field. And I sort of was in the surf, so it was a bit hard for me to talk too much, but I just asked a few questions, and it seemed like his job existed, and he gets up to $500 a day. And I thought, well, gee, for a fabricated industry, that's a lot of money to pay. So I'm sort of thinking that has to exist just to pay his wages. And he said some guys get more money with the more experienced guys. So if people know anything about gas and oil, we certainly will be looking at these topics. Yes, here's a picture of the Surat gas project. And I certainly can witness to you that there are people getting around in this orange, the white hat. I've seen them firsthand myself. And there's a bit of a display. I'll have to hunt that up. I've got some video of Roma where they have the old oil museum there, and they've got an oil thing out the front pumping away. I think it's just a mock-up one, but I mean, there's certainly some sort of idea of oil industry at Roma. Santos, we have the energy. We have the energy. So are they making the gas out of the crop? Must admit, there's huge big wheat crops out in this area. You see massive silos and massive just open storage with tarps on top of them. They could be scraping this up somewhere and turning it into gas and just pretending it's all out of the ground. I'm not sure. There's some big pipeline idea going on here too. It's certainly an interesting topic. Gas, oil, you know, what the truth is about any of these things, it's very hard to determine. You know, so any channel that's trying to ask questions I like, but I don't know why this guy views me there, considering I'm one of the only people who actually ask questions, and certainly the only person that's actually probably prepared to look at a topic like this. One way or the other, you know, want to find out is Aaron Dover a shill, because certainly the way he attacked me, and there's something bodgy about him, something definitely bodgy. But there you go, Aaron, I can attack you back. You know, you should apologise to me for that attack. If you're dinkum, I'll look at these things, give me the good evidence. I've watched your videos, they're pretty poor as far as evidence goes. The one you did in oil was about the best one, but nothing else I saw was convincing me enough. Certainly did some good work on plastics, which had me thinking a bit. But certainly there'll be more people looking at this topic and getting a bit of a wider view of it and a bit of experience of people who know about these things from a first-hand basis. See, the Surat Basin gas deal. Wish I'd known all about this when I was out there. I would have been much more inquisitive into what's going on. And I'll certainly try and see if I can find a few more fly-in, fly-out workers to quiz about these things. So stay tuned to the Jungle channel and we will endeavour to look at these things over the next while. Well, I remember there one night I opened up my YouTube and there was a video on the Civil War. It was a video by David Johnson. And he's one of the only people I've seen from America that really steps up to the plate on certain issues. And in fact, he liked to charge ahead like a wounded bull sometimes. But that was good because we needed people charging ahead. No point staying under the tree type thing, staying in the cosy area. You've got to forge ahead and look at things that might really challenge people's perceptions. But I mean, we're about learning. And once you learn something, you just can't forget it. And one thing we've learned along the way is the significance of the number 7. Now, if we look at what we're looking at here, we're looking at a big 7. And I think it's strange that somebody would come along and arrange these things here like that. Because what are they anyway? And we can see the first one is a 7 as well. So basically we have the double 7 idea straight in your face from the Battle of Antietam from the Civil War. Now, it was one of the first photographed wars. But funny enough, when you see a photo of the war, you see something like this. Something like these guys standing by this lake here with a few people over there. The only real battle scenes are always paintings. I find that highly interesting in the time of photography, and it's so much easier and quicker, isn't it, now to snap a photo? But no, there's not many of them. There's plenty of reenactments. Plenty of smoke always rising in the air. Some interesting pictures like this of something on the ground here. 2 men standing over the top of it all, giving you ideas in your head, but seems to be a pretty popular image, this one too. It seems to be a few versions of the same image. That's pretty telling now, isn't it? They've got all these different versions of the same thing. Yeah, a very popular image. Very similar with somebody else standing on the other side. Look, a few guns and the rucksack. Looks like they're trying to sell me a bill of goods here. I could arrange this in the backyard and then get somebody to paint this sort of scene. What's going on here? This looks a little bit more serious. There's one guy lying on the ground here. This looks like a frog man, doesn't it? Look, the W idea. Something pretty interesting about that. Certainly the painters always have code in their paintings. Goes without saying, especially official government style ones. Oh, this is an interesting picture. Now, that's hardly a photograph, is it? So, there you go again. Oh, this is a Chinese casualty in the Korean War. Yeah, sure. See, always a 7, that's the same picture. I've seen a pile like that before, and they were in 7s. Very popular little idea, the 7s. What have we got here? We've got animals. Yes, popular idea, get a few animals and kill them, lie them on the ground for sure, take a few photos, probably ate them later. So as we can see, plenty of hardcore thing. Oh, this is the English Civil War. Again, always on painting because there was no photographs at that time. This is good sort of images here. And go and check Dave Johnson's video out where he talks about Washington and how it needed money spent on it. And of course they needed something to bond the country. It was going to have some sort of ritual, you might say. And that's what the Hamilton Burr idea was. They needed a martyr for the new republic. And this one here is a later development of that, obviously. Look, this is obviously opposing sides. That's an interesting image, isn't it? It's like it might have been cut in here, actually. But you see, that's all you get. That's what you get. And this one was a good one. A couple of these, a couple of dead horses, and there has been a huge battle here. A huge battle. And it's hand-to-hand combat with the flag raised high. You always got to have that flag raised high. This bloke's about to beat this guy over the head. And again, the photos never show anything like that. Never see that in the photos. No. I can't find one photo of anything like that, actually. Is this a photo, or is this... No, this is another painting. So to tell between old lithographic sort of painting style and photos a bit. But even photos, of course, can be created up. But certainly there's no decent battle images. So if anyone has a really good battle image, please send it to me. I won't be holding my breath, that is for sure. See again, this is Oliver Cromwell again. I'm getting suckered in by these lithographics. There's not many photos at all, really. Only photos like this. Look, bridges today or some roadway because, you know, the enemy's coming. We've got to defend this thing. We need a bit of a roadway dug. So I think what they're saying here is the lines were drawn here on this little track. And they built up these wooden barricades. And, you know, they've got them here. Of course, people come and see this and go, oh, horror, horror. Look, they were so close. They were so close, but so far. Yes, I'm afraid it's all paintings. The only photos you get are the sacks on the ground idea. And somebody sitting here in Devil's Den. Ooh, Devil's Den, they would have said. Ooh, Devil's Den. And we're having a bit of a mass going on here. So that's about it. And certainly, I reckon, a fair money pit to complete the mission of Washington. You know, they have big grandiose plans for Washington, but they needed something to pin it all together. And that's certainly all that fundage, all that effort, and some of it would have been put into this. And you had the men mobilised, as it were, to build your Washington. Definitely, see, incomplete, you know. Needed fixing up at it. It was a number of years since the revolution, as it were, so, you know, the patriotism was falling. So a big divide and then conquer, order out of chaos, you know the idea. But as we see by the photos, frauded up, number 7 everywhere, not looking good at all. Go and watch Dave Johnson's video on this for some confirmation, and hopefully a few other people will look at this and put their own ideas out there with things about it that others can learn from, because certainly there's a fraud here if you've ever seen one, and this is a big American fraud. This should have been so big. When I saw that video, I thought, gee, there'll be a few other people covered. This is going to be quite big, and there was just silence. So you YouTube stations out there, get out this information, have a good look at this yourselves, and notice that there are no photos of the battle yet. I mean, they had photography. It would have been easy enough to take some photos of the great battles, but all you get are paintings, and photos are reserved for ghoulism. Definitely photos. Now, it would take months for this to happen. Come on now. This is an arranged idea if you've ever seen one. Totally arranged. Isn't that just a classic, eh? That one seals the deal to me. So please, people, realise now what you're looking at. You know the same at Hiroshima. You know the same with the doodle bug. They should be ones that start to make you think. Then go and look at the Iwo Jima battle. I've done a video on it, and you'll find Dave Johnson has. No one else, again, has done anything on Iwo Jima. So expect some Civil Hopes videos up in the next while. Please, you know, realise this is important information. Hi there. Well, look at this picture of this young girl here. Do you know who this young girl here is? Would you believe it's Michelle Trannyson? Michelle Tyson, or Michael Tyson, you may know him, dash her as. And look at this picture, transvestigated in one photo. Yes, this picture here, pretty telling. Sunken breasts, low belly button, slopey down shoulders, very close to him with the eyes, and the short arms. Michelle Tyson, and it's in the name. Mike Trannyson, Mike T-Son. Make of it what you will, but that's what you're looking at. And why wouldn't you be? We discovered that all the footballers, all the wrestlers, so why not the boxers? Yes, some of them don't just box, they have the box. This is outrageous. This is, somebody that people really looked up to, and other people, of course, hated. Another one of them Bill Cosby type ideas going on in this one. around, biting ears. Yes, the old early pictures always think of, look at this now. I ask you, if no one told you, you would say there's a woman standing there. Well, that woman is Michelle Tranison. And this is another one we're going to have to look at, the old Clay Ali in another video. No heroes are not going to be transvestigated at this point. We've got to break this hero worship. But there he is, Michelle Tyson. Just go and look at the old images and it clearly stands out. Look at those legs. Look at that knee and the way the calf and everything. That is a girl. Look at the hips. See, then they've just turned it into this monster beast with heaps of pills over ears. They're all Frankenstein monsters. Let me miss this with Clive Davis. Another one of those hands in pocket guys. There you go, we may well all laugh. Yeah, they will laugh. But look at this shot here, eh? The full fee beast. And doing the budgie smuggle, no doubt. Full budgie smuggle. Here at an early way in. It's amazing how they create these things, all the drugs. But you can see from those early pictures, just sinks it straight away. This pic really seals the deal, and what it's about Cape Fear, if you heard that video where I mentioned it with Robert Mitchum, they always have these strange looking chests that just not really manly. See, it's like two breasts. Just look at that region of the body and see that as a woman. Look at it. And look at this picture in later days on the deck. And it's just a big old woman with a fake mo flying down there. That's it. There you go. Thanks, audience. Cheers. Oh, and a final pic for you. Look, here's with another famous girl. Girl on girl. One's got packing a woody. I tell you, terrible stuff. Budgie smuggling and strange looking chests and short arms. The whole pack of these people. You wouldn't believe what the photo is next to this photo, and everyone sorts to Mike Tyson serves. Look, the beaver. The man with the beaver. And look at the man beast next to him. So I state my case. It's everywhere. Oh, Histros Mandler has come up with a beauty here, an interview with Terence Trans Darby. Now, I would have already done a video on this one because it relates a bit to Michael Jackson and Prince. It's like the third one, isn't it? And it had that song similar to Dove's Cry. Sign your name. Remember that one? Sign your name across my heart. Want you to be my lady, my tea lady. Because this is a trans man. Just listen to it talk.
It was too different from what people were expecting me to follow up the hard line with. And you have a choice, I guess, if you're truly aspiring to be a true artist, which I have been from the beginning. You can either go down the safe path, or you can always try to follow your instincts in your heart. And sometimes, if you...
Oh, not the old following the heart again ideas always. Look at that face. That is a woman. Anyone want to argue that this is a woman? Now, if it accept this is a woman, replace Michael Hutchence for a while and then excess. Well, old Hutchie is another one, which I've clearly established before. Used to go out with Kylie Minogue and then Paula Yates. Well, both trainees as well. Reverse plug-in, right? Wake the hell up.
You follow the safe path, sometimes it's more guaranteed that you're going to get immediate returns, but not necessarily in the long run. If you follow the path of your heart and your instincts as an artist, that's more of a risk that you're taking. But I think at the end of the day, there's kind of more peace within myself.
This thing around its neck here. Let's have a few other pictures of the trans Darby. Well, this is quite an interesting story you've come across here, Histros. Look, Trent which relates to that Nottingham Forest BS. They sing that song, which relates to Mull of Kintyre, of course. I've covered that before. With Pope Francis in the middle here, Sananda, what an interesting name in itself, and what? Maitreya. Maitreya. Unbelievable, eh? The Maitreya himself hanging in the background here. Might re-emerge. Last thing we saw of it doing in excess at the Sydney Olympics, that was pathetic. So I don't know what's happened to it since. Somebody's saying, whatever happened to Terence Trent? Let's see if there's any pictures of him modern. A modern look of Trans Derby. Oh, here we are, 2014. Oh, yeah, starting to get the look. Getting that look, isn't he? That look we know so well. This couldn't be him here, is it? This is George Michael concert review. I don't know who that is. Oh, look how girly that image is there. Sananda Maitreya. Sananda Maitreya, eh? What a bloody name. Well, this is indeed very interesting. It's him, alright. There he is over here, look. Coming down, or her. Well, that's a real girly look indeed, isn't it now? But look at what it's doing. That's more interesting to me than the fact that it's a trans, I tell you. It's become Maitreya. See what the news is of Maitreya. It could well emerge. I mean, Jackson is dead and, hoaxed out, and Prince is hoaxed out. So, see, Prometheus and Pandora's box. Or he's talking about Muhammad Ali here. I'm going to have to do a bit more research and I'll get back to you with another video on this. I called him Chief. Who's I called? Let's look at this one. I called him Chief. Who's his chief? Prince. Prince is chief. Ah. God has died, he said. Thank you, Grind Maestro, forever. This is from Terence, eh? Another trans man, of course. We've well established that. Look at the chest and the whole thing, and it's just got that tranny look. And a brother just died of a broken heart. Look out. So this is Terence on Prince. Sananda Maitreya. What else he's got going here? Tour. He's on tour. We're going to have a look. He's on tour. See what he's doing on the tour thing. 2014. No, 26 concerts, and it's a bit late now, isn't it? Media. Sananda Maitreya and his media. 2013. It's been a bit quiet, old thing. Let's go to Google News and see what it says on there. Now, this is pretty interesting that, we're just talking about him because he's in the news here 8 hours ago for a confrontational painting of black musician Femin is defaced. It should have that written, shouldn't it now? Just another one of them, so I don't know how people can't see all this with these people, but that interview that Histros showed totally seals the deal. Totally seals the deal. Oh, it's going to be ringing to Black Lives Matter or something going on here, isn't it? Defaced on campus. Oh, there you go, because he's now Maitreya. Yes, and it's Washington. It's Washington. 7 by 8 for your transformation, and he's definitely done that, hasn't he? And his blackness. Through Maitreya's unsmiling painted mouth. And it was people of colour. It felt like it was a personal attack on them also. Sarani. Now, remember Sarah? And she was in a sari.